Resident Evil 6, the game that is widely hated by a lot of people, and you might be one of them, or you might be one of the rare few that actually really likes this game. Because I know Capcom definitely doesn't, and they definitely always tried to pretend that this game doesn't exist because of how bad people slammed it. And I honestly kind of get why they slammed it, because it was definitely a very big radical departure of what we normally know Resident Evil for. You normally just shoot, sometimes use the knife, not obviously kick zombies and do somersaults and stuff like that. Although I can't lie, I don't know why this game gets widely bashed, and we previously had Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 4. Now Resident Evil 4, in my opinion, yes, that's more of an actual horror game, but it's actually, it still has that tension, of the villagers, and you're not completely invincible. By the way, you may have weapons, but sometimes there's moments where you don't have enough or the right amount of ammo for a certain type of gun. So it makes, it's still kind of like a horror game. RE5 though, I think it became less of a horror because of, well, one, Cheva's dumb AI, and two, I just naturally didn't feel the most I've ever felt scared was probably 2 times or probably 3 times in that game. And that is because one, the chainsaw person that comes after you, or heck, even the person with the big, okay, let's make it 4 then. The person with obviously the big, I think, not hammer, it's like a giant axe. And then the chainsaw person, because, well, that's just really because of the previous game, which was Dr. Salvador and Resident Evil 4. And obviously the moments with Lickers, and lastly, that little moment when you're fighting Wesker and Jill at the same time. That was the only time it really felt horrifying for me. The rest of it, I just felt so overpowered because I'm literally a guy that's just totally ripped that can punch, freaking dunk zombies all day long. But I don't actually hate Resident Evil 5, by the way. I just don't think it's much of a horror for me. But what I do think is RE6 is, again, not really a bad game. I think a lot of people, if they actually played it, would probably agree, and because most people these days, they've kind of obviously you've got playthroughs and stuff like that, and don't get wrong, again, I've watched people talk about it and seen extensive gameplay, but when you actually get down to actually playing Resident Evil 6, you'll find that it's actually a really fun game. Yes, it may not be the best RE game, but it's definitely a good game in general, and even then I think that's what makes a lot of the numbers for RE6, because it's not a failure by any means, by the way. If you think that RE6 was a failure, only in the sense of plot and stuff, in the terms of sales, of course not. It sold about 11 million or so, so I think it's safe to say that this game wasn't exactly bad, and it still probably gave them that idea that, we should probably still target action. I think what they should have done with this game, if anything, is probably tried to make, I don't know, maybe a mode or something, make it more a little, not exactly in the settings. Probably, if they actually could remake Resident Evil 6, and I'll probably make, I don't know, a video what I would like to see in a remake, but I don't know when that would actually happen. But the one thing I would like to see is probably, I don't know, maybe there's a little toggle in the settings, hey, do you want this game to be more, traditional survival horror where you have to manage your resources and stuff like that, where you're not really having the ability to do kicks and stuff like that as much as you want? Or do you want it more like action, where you can obviously sprint crazily and dunk zombies and stuff like that? They should probably make a setting or some kind of thing like that. Maybe that I'm wrong, maybe people won't want that, but it's just something I would like to see. Another thing I would like to highlight about this game is the presentation. I think a lot of people are so busy dunking on this game that they don't realize how beautiful this game is. It's actually shocking that this game is what now, a good it's definitely 10 years old. Wait, it came out 2012. So yeah, pretty much definitely 10 years old plus, and it still looks as good as it does. That's just crazy to me. And it actually looks like, a game that just needs slight tinkering when it comes to graphics, and I think it just looks really good. Then again, I can't lie, gaming has kind of hit a stagnant point when it comes to presentation and I guess graphics, so it's not too shocking that this game does look as good as it does, but it just shows you the amount of work they really put into this game and trying to give it their all. Give it the best that it can really have back then, really. Because of course, obviously, if you look at the games now, yes, there is a big difference. But you gotta think, this game is 10 years old and it still looks as good as it does. I think that's definitely some points that RE6 needs. I kind of miss when Resident Evil did look like this, but it was more stylized. I mean, obviously, it still does have its more, I guess, features and stylization when it comes to the newer games, but with Resident Evil like 5, 6, and like Rev 2 and Rev 1, they really had this like interesting style of how they would make their humans look and stuff like that. And I think that's what I really did miss. But Resident Evil 6 was definitely, I think, the hype, because obviously Revelations 2 at least, well, I can't really say Rev 1, I guess, yeah, both of them did feel a lot more, obviously more budget than the likes of Resident Evil 6, which is a obviously mainline entry. So again, I really did love how Resident Evil games looked back then, and I kind of missed that sort of look. Like how Leon or like Helena would look is very distinctive to how it would be back then. Whereas if that was in the new engine, it would look quite radically different, and also just your normal, I guess, realistic graphics. Not saying that it's not stylized, I'm just saying it's definitely an interesting style that they used back then. I love mercenaries in this game. I think maybe a little bit over RE5. I think it's only because I played more of the characters in this game, whereas with RE5 I normally just stick to like Jill, Wesker, and Rebecca, sometimes Chris, depending which version of Chris. Obviously each outfits had their own different selection of weapons, but again, I only really messed with a few characters, and that actually had a good sizable roster for its mercenaries. But honestly, I do prefer RE6 for just, I don't know, I think I attached to the characters a lot more, and I think because these characters was quite developed, which is the ones that you can play as, I think I love it 10 times even more. Again, I don't hate RE5 or anything like that, I'm just obviously, there's certain things I prefer in this game. In case you get the feeling that I really do hate it, I just want to reinstate that I don't. But yeah, I think Mercenaries in this game is just one that I sort of come back to every now and then, just because one, yes, the combat is very fun, and I think Mercenaries really benefits from having the mechanics and the gameplay of RE6. Whereas obviously in RE5, it's obviously you can do strays, you can do slight punches, but in this game you can actually really like run away, you know, then come back and do like, you know, a big kick or a big melee attack. And I think that's the part I love about this game. And because of the characters I've naturally attached to during the actual playthrough of this game, this campaign, I'm naturally going to play as some of these characters. Now obviously I do play as obviously Leon, Helena, Chris, Piers, Jake. I don't actually play as Jake. I actually don't really play as him as much. I think I played him more in the campaign than I ever did really in Mercenaries, but I play majority of the characters. I mean, except for obviously the likes of Carla as well, because I just don't, I mean, sometimes I actually do play her a little bit more than Ada, but again, I just generally love the selection of characters, or the small selection of characters that I would actually play, rather than have a lot of the characters that I really won't play. Like in RE5 I wouldn't really play as, I think his name is Josh. I think its small roster is enough for me. But another thing I think that really excels when it comes to Mercenaries is its stages. Its stages is really beautiful, like this ice stage and stuff like that. It's just so different from each other. Like you can go to one map and it's so radically different from the other one that you last played, with different enemies and different obviously threats to worry about. And that's what I kind of love about Mercenaries in this game. Like it feels very different in the sense of like the scope of its locations and stuff like that. But that's just the thing with really RE6 and its campaign, where you keep going like to different areas, like different parts of the map in the world, and I kind of like that. And I hope, I don't know, maybe you can get something like that again, maybe. But I think it'll just be cool if we just get a Mercenaries game, maybe with all different locations. But I really did love this one, and how it really definitely like made each Mercenaries map feels like something completely different from the last. Now I haven't unfortunately gotten the chance to play the other modes in this game, because well, it's hard to really find someone online these days when it comes to RE6. Granted, I am playing on Switch, and technically I guess /Switch 2. So again, I don't know if it's the same thing with Steam and like all that stuff, but generally I haven't gotten the chance to play Onslaught, or I think what, Survivors and stuff like that. So let me know how that goes in the comment section below, because I don't know much about that mode. I haven't really seen gameplay of it either, so I'm completely in the dark on that one. So let me know in the comment section how that goes. Is it a terrible mode? Is it a good mode? Let me know. And also tell me, do you love Resident Evil 6 or do you hate it? Comment below why that is, and I would love to read and hopefully reply to your messages. When the time comes in the future, I'll probably do a Resident Evil 6 retrospective, but again, as far as it goes, I'll probably just be talking about development cycle, since I think a lot of people don't shed enough light on the development of these RE titles, and I think it would be really cool if you can actually just, you know, learn about what they went through and stuff like that. If I can obviously manage to dig up information, that is, because obviously I don't know for all of them that you can really get it so easily. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like, and like I said, comment below your thoughts and opinions on Resident Evil 6, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out guys, and have a lovely day.